I said this previously. The Clippers aren't a very good team right now. And, I'm not the only one that really thinks that, at this point. And it's very, very interesting that you're hearing these comments and hearing this actually from somebody inside the Clippers locker room, which is the Clippers head coach, Ty Lue. Ty Lue speaks on the fact of the Clippers not being a very good team right now. And you can read CBSSports.com and check out some other sites as well to see a little bit more information on that. But, I have to agree with Ty Lue, honestly. Because to be the Clippers right now, if you look at the stats, the Clippers are 27th in the league right now in scoring. And that's very, very odd to me because this team here should be way better. This team here should be way more motivated. They should be way more driven, no matter who's on the floor. Because as I said, just because Kawhi Leonard isn't there, as I said in my previous video, just because Kawhi Leonard is out or not there at the moment in time, it doesn't necessarily mean they still shouldn't be winning. You had back-to-back games against the OKC Thunder. You are way better than the OKC Thunder. You could beat the Clippers should beat the OKC Thunder without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on the floor. Honestly, they really should beat them back-to-back games without neither one of their services. You did have Paul George services for both games, which he laid an egg to me. He scored like less than 15 points or something like that, or 14 points in one of those games. It was so horrible. It's so horrible. I really don't even want to remember what he scored because I know it wasn't over 20, and we all know he didn't shoot efficient as well. And that's one of the problems with Paul George that I find to be an issue. If he's not going to be efficient in his scoring when needed to be, that could be a problem for the Clippers. Now, as I said before about Paul George, he's played better, throughout the years. The last couple seasons, I've seen, a little bit better from him since the bubble happened. I've seen better from his game, and I'm not going to say I haven't. He could be a little bit more consistent to me, but overall, his mentality at least has been better than what I've seen in the bubble a couple years ago, these last couple seasons that he's been playing. So I'll give him that, but at the same time, he's got to be more consistent in regards to helping the team when they need him to. I don't care if Paul George is having nights where he's struggling and not shooting well, because every player goes through that. I'm not condemning him for that. I'm not saying that, he's a, bad player for that or anything like that. But games like against the OKC Thunder, back-to-back games, the Clippers can't lose games like that. And you put it on Paul George's shoulder because when Kawhi Leonard's not there, Paul George should have the green light. Because as I said before, he has the green light really when Kawhi Leonard is there. Because Paul George he still averages 25, 23, 24 plus points a game when Kawhi Leonard's there. Last year, year before last, when they were playing, in the regular season together and everything, Kawhi was averaging like 27, 28. Paul George is averaging like 24, 25. You see what I'm saying? So he has the green light when Kawhi Leonard's there. So he definitely really should have the green light even more when Kawhi isn't. And that's the problem with Paul George. He's supposed to automatically kick in, take over at a drop of a dime, if Kawhi is sitting out, and vice versa. If Kawhi is in and Paul George sitting out, but the problem is we're not worried about when Kawhi is in there if Paul George is out, because if Kawhi is 100% healthy and Paul George was out these last few games, the Clippers win all these games. Honestly, they definitely beat the Thunder twice. And I definitely think they would have beat the Pelicans if Kawhi Leonard was there. Or they would have beat the Phoenix Suns. Or they would have won all four of them with Kawhi Leonard there. Because, Kawhi Leonard's just that dominant at times where teams can't do anything with him. And like I said, with his ability now to swing the ball around and pass a little bit better than what he used to be, than what he was able to do in the past, it makes the Clippers a lot more deadly as a team to have a weapon who doesn't mind passing the ball, but who's lethal in scoring himself, and who's still lethal on the defensive end, also making plays on that end of the ball. So to me, it's one of those situations where The Clippers just have to buckle down. As I said, Ty Lue said it himself. This team is 27th in scoring right now. There's no way they should be that low in scoring with all the talent they have on this team. And so that tells me Ty Lue is not doing something well with the lineups. There's some adjustments he can make with the lineup in regards to how these guys are playing, how they're getting off, how they're getting their shots, how they're getting their momentum when they're on the floor, putting the right pieces on the floor together so they can gel. And I know these things take time. I know these things can, take a little bit of time to figure things out. But to me, Ty Lue should have had more of a game plan coming into this season than what he did. And I understand maybe the game plan is altered because they don't know how much Kawhi Leonard's gonna play and how much he will play and all that stuff. But really, that shouldn't matter because you played without Kawhi Leonard all last year. This team played without Paul George half the season last year. What is the problem? You're used to playing without these two guys, and you still found a way to make a playing tournament last year when nobody thought you would even come close to that without two of your players. One gone half the season, the other one gone the whole season. So the Clippers have won with less talent on the floor than what they have right now. So really, they shouldn't be 27th in scoring regardless of whether Kawhi is on the floor or not. I mean, he makes a difference, but he shouldn't make that much of a difference because that's the reason why they have all this depth on this team. So when one guy is out during the regular season, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. I mean, it'll make a difference because it's Kawhi Leonard, no doubt about it. But I mean, losing to the Thunder twice, Kawhi Leonard doesn't make that much of an effect. I mean, you should be able to beat the Thunder without him. You shouldn't need his services for light work like that. And that's all I'm saying. And, it's almost as if the Clippers are going into these games and because of who they are, their name and all these, talented players they have, they're acting like teams are going to lay down for them just because of all the talent they have on their team. Well, teams are not going to do that. Teams are going to come at you. They're going to attack your weaknesses and they are going to attack you all night because they know you have a superior team and they know if you're 100% healthy, they really don't have much of a chance at all against you. So they'll take any win they could get against you, whether you're missing Kawhi Leonard, whether you're missing shots or whether Paul George is off. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Teams want to beat you. Teams want to make an example out of you because you're the one projected to win the championship, as a lot of analysts are saying right now. So if you're projected to win the championship, teams really want to beat you more than any other team, besides maybe the Warriors, besides maybe the Nets, or maybe Boston, since they made the finals last year. Teams really want to beat those core teams right now. I mean, the most. So, because those teams are the most talked about at the moment. And on top of that, they're supposed to be the top teams in the league right now. I mean, the Boston Celtics, the Nets are supposed to be better. The Clippers are supposed to be, the cream of the crop right now. And then the Warriors, of course, they won the championship. You got to give them some respect too. But these are the teams that I hear being talked about the most right now, besides the Lakers. But those are the teams being talked about the most because those are the teams that, that I guess some are looking at that could be potential, teams that go to the finals. And this is my point. If the Clippers are going to be in that realm, if they're going to be in that conversation, you can't, have, games like this where you can't have games where you lay an egg back-to-back nights against a team like the Thunder that has no business beating you. And on top of that, you've lost 4 straight games. And right now you're looking at a team where, they should go in and beat a lot of these teams, but they're not. And honestly, to be quite honest right now, the Clippers aren't looking that much better than the Lakers, honestly. And then that says a lot because the Clippers' first game of the season was against the Lakers. They got their first win against them, and they got their second win, I think, against the Kings, where Paul George did have a 40-point game. But the Kings were like 0-4 at that time, or 0-3 at that time. So the Kings aren't a very good team at all either. Matter of fact, they're worse than the Thunder. If you ask me, the Thunder are better than the Kings, especially if the Thunder beat the Clippers twice back-to-back nights. I mean, that looks like almost what I saw last year with the Lakers, where I think the Thunder beat them back-to-back times, and the Lakers never got it going throughout the season since that point. And I'm not saying the Clippers are going to be in the same situation, of course, but you got to play a lot better even without Kawhi Leonard on the floor. And you got PG on the floor. PG cannot have games where he's scoring under 15 points or going against a team like the Thunder, who has no talent on their superior or really compared to Paul George. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, shout out to him. You know, he's a really good young and up-and-coming player, no doubt about that. But at the same time, Josh Giddey, he's pretty decent too, and they got a guy named Dort on there. He's all right, but these guys are not nearly on the level of a Paul George. They're not even on the level of a Reggie Jackson or Marcus Morris to me. Honestly, they're not. I mean, let's just keep it real. They're not even on their level, probably. So, I mean, this is the point. You can't lose to teams like that. You have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat when you're trying to win a championship. When you're trying to win championships, you can't lose against teams that you're supposed to beat, you know, back-to-back nights like that. If anything, the Clippers should at least won one of those games against the Thunder. And like I said, we're not going to harp on this too much, but these are concerns to me because you're looking at a team that's 2-4 that should at least be 4-2 on bare minimum. And as I said before, you know, Ty Lue said himself, they got too much talent on this team to be playing the way that they are. And, you know, even though Ty Lue is saying it, he's a part of the blame. He really is. As I said, he's not concise with his lineups. He's not making adjustments in games the way he's supposed to based upon what the other team is giving him at times. He's just being stubborn and going with the thought process that he wants to go with. And, oh, it's going to work if I just leave them in there and they'll figure it out. He's almost coaching like the way Doc Rivers did a few years ago with the Clippers. Oh, leave the lineup out there and don't make no adjustments. They'll figure it out. They're smart enough. They're talented enough. And they're talented enough to figure it out to win this series or win this game. Yeah, you may have talent, but continuity and chemistry overrides talent a lot of the times. So the Clippers are winning games off of their talent. They were winning games off their talent a couple years ago more than they were off chemistry. And this is what the Clippers should know by now. Chemistry is everything. So with chemistry being everything, Ty Lue should know his lineup shouldn't be tweaked as much. His lineup should be more concise. He should know who's coming off the bench more. He should have selective guys coming off the bench, logging in some minutes that can give him, you know, some very, very good quality minutes and, you know, keep it that way. And then, you know, every now and then, you know, add in, you know, a couple guys, you know, maybe on the back end of the bench who don't play as well, give them some time as well. But you should have your core guys coming off the bench. And me personally, I think it's core guys coming off the bench. You know, to me, you know, I'm going with Luke Kennard and, you know, Terrence Mann. I'm going with, you know, of course, you know, Norman Powell and Robert Covington, depending on if they do come off the bench, because they kind of been, you know, they can kind of be in the starting lineup as well, too, depending on what Kawhi Leonard and PG, you know, does as far as like load managing and stuff. So they're kind of like up in the air. But definitely Brandon Boston Jr. and find a way to, you know, get some playing time for Diabate. And you could, as I say, you could throw Amir Coffey in there too if you could. But yeah, I mean, those are the people he should be having coming off the bench and logging in some good minutes and getting some good quality production out of them, because as I said, you know, they just have way too much talent to be the 27th scoring team in the league. Nobody expected that. I mean, even it's early in the season, you couldn't tell me you thought the Clippers would be 27th in scoring in the NBA with all the talent they have on their team. And that's with or without Kawhi Leonard. I mean, honestly, they should be top 20 bare minimum without Kawhi Leonard. They should be top 10 or top 15 with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, that's just how I see it in scoring wise. I mean, honestly, they should be, you know, a lot better than what they are. But as of right now, they're not. And, you know, as I said, Ty Lue deserves some of the blame, but also the players, too, of course. I mean, the players have to go out there and perform it. Ty Lue can only come up with the game plan. They have to actually go do it. So, I mean, it's blame being passed around on both sides right now. But as I said, it's early in the season. The Clippers do have time. They do have time to get healthy. They do have time to gel. gel. They do have time to put things together, and they do have time to, go through the season and figure out, more of their strengths and their weaknesses and figure out how to, get better at everything. They have time for this, but the only problem is, as I said, you want to avoid the play-in tournament, and I believe the Clippers will if they're healthy, of course, because I believe they can be a number 1 seed or something like that if they stay healthy enough. But I don't know if they're going to do that, in regards to, playing their players. I feel like they're going to load manage a lot, during this season too. So that might rule them out of the number 1 or number 2 seed in the West or something like that. But I still think they can make like a 5th seed or 4th seed in the West, which is right where they really actually want to be, somewhere in there. They don't really want to find themselves in a play-in tournament, even though they might have Kawhi and PG, because as I said, that's a 1-game elimination, and you're putting yourself in a bad situation like that. And the Clippers shouldn't be in a situation like that with the type of talent they have on their team anyway, because as long as Paul George or Kawhi Leonard's on the floor, they shouldn't be in no play-in tournament. They should have a playoff spot, and that's what we expect out of them. So I'm gonna need them to pick it up a little bit more. Like I said, I'm hearing good things about Kawhi Leonard's knees. He feel a lot better with the treatment that he's had, just a little stiffness that he had, in his knee and everything. He's feeling a lot better. As I said before, he's really just gonna have to kind of play through it and kind of see, what he can, do with this team and how he can better himself to get back to his form, how he was consistently playing, 25, 30 or 30 plus minutes per game and, giving a superior effort as he always does. He has to just get back to that and gradually get back to it. That's fine. So I'm glad that, things are going well, with his knee. He's feeling a lot better and everything like that. So hopefully that's a good sign towards success with that. And as far as the Clippers as a team, still got to play better, still got to play harder, whether Kawhi is on the floor or not. The team is still good enough to be winning some of the games that they have. Their schedule is pretty favorable right now, so I would keep it that way if I were them. And I can't. They can't. I take that back. They can't keep it that way. I should say the fact that their schedule is very favorable, I would be winning as much as I can. The easier your schedule is, because when the schedule gets a little bit tougher, then that's when you're going to be tested more, and that's when your chemistry is really going to show, or how much chemistry you've gained up until that time. That's when it's really going to show. So all these easy games or games they should be winning, they need to start winning those. Because as I said, every game counts now. It's only 1 through 6 as far as the playoffs. Anything less, you're in the play-in tournament at the end of the season. So games really count a lot more now than what they used to before. So Clippers need to be wary of that. Ty Lue needs to be wary of that, and they need to start making the right adjustments, and they need to start getting the right results rather than getting the bad ones they've been getting the last 4 games consecutively. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.